Being able to relive the days of your childhood games can be either a good or a bad thing. When it comes to Mortal Kombat on modern consoles, it's very rare to play the retro titles, as the games you get to experience in the present are Mortal Kombat X, Mortal Kombat 11, and Mortal Kombat 1, the reboot that is. With the Mortal Kombat Legacy Kollection, players now have the chance to experience the classic titles that started this iconic fighting game series. Digital Eclipse offers a variety of games from the 2D fighting days of the series, albeit games from the later 3D era like Deception, Shaolin Monks, and Armageddon are missing, but for a collection of games I was excited about, the title has a few bruises showing that hurt it. This is Stuart from Smash Jump. Get over here for our review of Mortal Kombat Legacy Kollection, written by Chris Melnyk. When it comes to the story of Mortal Kombat, Legacy Kollection leaves it unchanged. However, for newer players, it covers a lot. The greatest warriors of Earthrealm, aka our own regular human Earth, compete in a lethal tournament called Mortal Kombat. Throughout the games, the Earthrealm warriors and their allies are fighting to win the tournament consecutively, because if they don't, the planet will fall victim to an invasion from the desolate realm of Outworld. The series has its chosen heroes going up against foes like the four-armed Shao Kahn race, shifty sorcerer Shang Tsung, and the imposing, ruthless Emperor of Outworld and big bad of the MK series, Shao Kahn, in a bid to preserve good in the universe. The story of the Mortal Kombat games in the Legacy Kollection is fantastic. It's a power struggle between good and evil in the dramatic soap opera sense. It also mixes in martial arts and magic to create the perfect concoction that Midway and NetherRealm Studios have done for years. Each of the characters has a different ending that showcases a distinct narrative, whether you're playing as heroes, villains, or neutral parties. The main basis of the game's stories is told through text form when you boot up the games. It's a generation-spanning tale that only grew more interesting and ridiculous in the best way as time went on. Let me start by saying that the AI in the earlier Mortal Kombat games has been tough. More specifically, those in MK 1, 2, 3, 4 and Trilogy. More so, the games had dynamic difficulty that would scale as you progressed further. In the Legacy Kollection, it feels like the AI difficulty doesn't track. Rather, the AI starts to become incredibly difficult by the second fight, as if the difficulty has been cranked up. For the years I have played the Genesis version of MK1, it feels really tough. Even when I select the extra easy mode for a game, I get the feeling that I am facing Shao Kahn himself with each opponent. And if you want to bring in newer players, it's not going to be easy if the curve of fighting difficulty accelerates this much. Sadly though, this is not the worst when it comes to AI in the game. The main culprit is right in the main menu of the game. It seems that characters on the scrolling menu are indeed generated with AI, or upscaled with it, mainly due to the appearances of various characters looking off. An example of this is Johnny Cage and Sonya's faces. It's a move that I'm rather disappointed to see, as it feels like a shortcut. Digital Eclipse could have had designers work on the menu design, and with it being something that moves, it would have been unique. But the inclusion of AI for this feels almost degrading to the game.
It's official. You suck.
When it comes to the games in this collection, it's a pretty good lineup. The console and handheld versions of Mortal Kombat 1 to 3, plus the various console versions of those and the fourth entry. Furthermore, it also includes the less than stellar PlayStation 1 spin-off games Mythologies Sub-Zero and Special Forces, as well as the Game Boy Advance version of Deadly Alliance, but not the flagship console version, unfortunately. Overall, there are around 23 titles to enjoy, and it's a fantastic amount of options. While some are just different versions, they all feel like different experiences from one another. Plus, you get to enjoy the origins and some of the best entries within the series on modern consoles, which is a win in itself. Additionally, being able to enable the on-screen moves list for all of these titles, just like in the modern Mortal Kombat games, is another great move. While I love the games, trying to remember all of the moves is tricky, so having the advantage of inputting moves to overcome the opponent is much easier. Whether it's special moves or fatalities, it gives you an idea of what to prep for. Plus, if you are looking at learning and studying a character, it can make it much easier to do. It makes the games much more approachable for all players, also further incentivizing you to try and learn different characters and what each of their moves does. But one of the biggest issues with playing these games is the input lag, and believe me, it really is prominent. When trying to input moves, the delay messes with activating specials or fatalities. Plus, it can lead to combos not starting and leave you wide open to start taking damage. It's worse against AI because they don't have to worry about this. So there ended up being various times when I was being tossed up by the opponent because the input delay was really throwing me off. And for players who delve mainly into online, this can be a big issue. Whether or not this gets fixed in the future is up in the air, but it makes things really tricky at the moment. Digital Eclipse did something special by adding a massive documentary section to the Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection. The team collected and curated over 3 hours of footage and interviews, including recent ones the team did with current and former developers of the Mortal Kombat team, covering from just before development all the way to where NetherRealm Studios currently is. Honestly, all the footage is fantastic to go through. There is so much incredible detail on core members of the series such as Ed Boon and John Tobias. Once I started watching, I grabbed my favourite chips and was hooked. It's a feature that shouldn't go unnoticed when starting up the game. In fact, it makes it sweeter to check it out before you even boot up a single title. Additionally, within the documentary section are tons of archival pieces of memorabilia and concepts to read through and look at. Within it, you can see the original names for characters that John Tobias came up with. Furthermore, you get to see artworks of different stage designs that John Vogel created in the titles. It's a humbling experience to check out. As you see, a group of friends goes from making pinball machines and old Midway titles to creating one of the biggest fighting game franchises of all time. Digital Eclipse put a lot of work into this archival side of the game to pay tribute to the original development team, and they did right by me, something that I think should be seen more in retro remasters. The video quality of the Legacy Collection is an obvious step up from the classic days and from the more recent Arcade Collection. Each of the games looks clearer and the pixels look really brought out. If you want to opt for the retro look, there are even filters and borders that mimic a TV set and scan lines, really nailing home the experience that many of us had back in the days when these were brand new to the scene. While seeing the games in higher graphics may show their age, I think it's a nice trait for them. You can see the live action actors better for the titles and get a better understanding that they were not computer generated. Plus, the finishing move fatalities and blood effects look clearer than they ever have before. In the audio side of things, I didn't find any issues with the sound effects or the music. In fact, it was really satisfying to be able to hear the MK1 Genesis intro music, something that had me harkening back to my days when I first heard it on the original console. Instead of anything being low resolution in terms of sound, the audio is touched up. From the hard uppercut noises on Mortal Kombat 1 to Cabal's raging flash on Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3, it all sounds much better, something that can make all the difference in the Mortal Kombat series. The Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection was something that I was really excited to dive into. An archive of various games from the retro days and a unique documentary to accompany it. However, what came out of this release was AI generation, really rough input delay, and bad difficulty scaling. A collection that feels like it needed more time to cook, but instead came out bruised and full of issues. While many can be rectified, many of the issues described can leave a bad taste in your mouth right away. More so, with an online experience that is spotty, it can have you questioning if it is simply an afterthought. Digital Eclipse did some good work on titles like the Cowabunga collection, but seeing this transition, it really hurts to see as a Mortal Kombat fan. It may even leave newer fans with some disappointment. The game's touch-ups, the massive documentary setting, and the great game collection are indeed wins, and show that strides were indeed made to give fans a more updated and presentable collection of Mortal Kombat games. In the state that the game currently sits, it is a hard justification to dive into if you already own the titles on other systems. But if you are a newer fan or want to enjoy it on modern systems, it's the best option. The collection can be fixed, but as a fighting fan and a bigger Mortal Kombat fan, it feels like an entry that you can wait for changes to be made. For now, it's not quite a flawless victory. And if the upcoming Mortal Kombat 2 movie follows the trend, it could be a tricky time for fans of the series. Choose your destiny carefully with this one.